and good day to the great people of Yewa Land, Ogun State and Nigeria as a whole. Good day to you once again. Thank you so much for joining Poly TV show on Poly TV Laro. My name is Damilola Adekunle, and today is going to be very interesting, interactive, educative, and I'm very sure that every one of you don't want to miss today's episode. Once again, my name is Damilola Adekunle, and I have with me in the studio.
And it's a lot more.
So today we have a whole lot packed. So we're starting with the newspaper review. We have from the rector's office, which is FPI agenda.
Yeah,
we also have
from the Directorate of Student Affairs.
Yeah,
we have a student platform,
Center Table. Yes.
So we have quite a lot of segments planned as usual for us in the program today, and we hope that you guys sit back, you stick with us, and you enjoy all of it basically.
Yeah, now we have to go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll start with the newspaper review for today. It's the Poly TV show on Poly TV Laro. Now we are on to the next segment, which is a newspaper review, and I have Moyolua Enitilo with me in the studio as well. So we have several papers to review, but we'll be starting with the Punch newspaper today, and with a bold headline: Fuel crisis, marketers project 700 billion naira monthly subsidy. Fuel crisis, marketers project 700 billion naira monthly subsidy, and there are two riders underneath it. NNPC mom as dealers insist government still paying subsidy. Reps probe crude shortage. Dangote highs foreign markets for refinery product. Federal government meets Kyari Dangote over dispute. That's the reason page 2 of the Punch.
And on the Punch newspaper as well, we see that immigration officer and 3 others are arraigned for drug trafficking. Immigration officer and 3 others have been arraigned for drug trafficking. If you want to read much more on that story, you can find it on page 5 of the Punch newspaper.
Windfall tax. Federal government insists on sanctions for defaulting bank chiefs. Windfall tax. Federal government insists on sanctions for defaulting bank chiefs. Proposes 10% penalty on withheld levy. That story is on page 23 of the Punch.
And still on the Punch newspaper on page 23, we see that global banks to inject $7.5 billion into Nigeria power sector. If you want to read much more on that, you can find it on page 23. Global banks to inject $7.5 billion into Nigeria power sector.
Yeah, organized private sector opposes fresh interest rate hike. Organized private sector opposes fresh interest rate hike. That story is also on page 23 of the Punch.
And on page 5 of the Punch newspaper, we see that immigration officer and 3 others arraigned for drug trafficking. Immigration officer and 3 others are arraigned for drug trafficking. If you want to reach much more on that news, find out all the details about it. You can find it on page 5 of the Punch newspaper.
Hunger protest. NLC warns against clampdown. Hunger protest. NLC warns against clampdown. That story is on page 16 of the Punch.
And still on page 5 of the Punch newspaper, we see that mastermind of Abuja General's murder nabbed in Kano. The mastermind of Abuja General's murder has been nabbed in Kano. You can read much more on this story on page 5.
Moving straight to the next paper, we have the First News newspaper, and there is this bold headline talking about the NLC. NLC begs Tinubu to engage planned protest leaders. NLC begs Tinubu to engage planned protest leaders, and there is one rider underneath it. President talk to youth. Ndume concurs. That story is on page 2 of First News newspaper.
So on First News newspaper, we see that appeal court upholds death sentence for Danish who murdered Nigerian wife. Appeal court upholds death sentence for Danish who murdered his Nigerian wife.
Onanuga slammed. Anti-government protests claim Igbophobic, hateful, says Ohanieze. Onanuga slammed. Anti-government protests claim Igbophobic, hateful, says Ohanieze. That story, if you want to get the full gist of that story, pick a copy of the First News newspaper.
And I'm still on the Fresh newspaper. We see that army hands over Chibok girls, 330 others rescued from Boko Haram terrorists to Borno government. We see that army hands over Chibok girls and 330 others rescued from Boko Haram terrorists to the Borno government.
Reps launches probe into importation of substandard petroleum products. Reps launches probe into importation of some standard petroleum product. That's the reason. First News newspaper.
And moving on quickly, well, lastly on the Punch newspaper, we see the Edo gubernatorial election. Appeal court upholds PDP primary, keeps Ighodalo as candidate. Appeal court upholds PDP primary and keeps Ighodalo as candidate.
You're moving straight to Daily News Hub. Federal government intervenes in Dangote NMDPRA face-off. Moves to resolve dispute as minister meets with Dangote. Federal government agencies. Federal government intervenes in Dangote NMDPRA face-off. Moves to resolve dispute as minister meets with Dangote. Federal government agency. That's the reason. Daily News Hub newspaper.
And from Dangote, we see that my friend who warned against investing in Nigeria now taunting me. My friend who warned against investing in Nigeria now taunting me. You can also find this on the Daily News Hub. You want to for everything news. So if you want to read much more on that, you can pick up a copy of the Daily News Hub newspaper.
Tinubu's ministers. National Assembly victimizing me for refusing to sign dubious $500 million loan. Tinubu's minister, National Assembly victimizing me for refusing to sign dubious $500 million loan. That story is in Daily News Hub newspaper.
And still on Daily News Hub newspaper, we see that hashtag end bad governance. How Tinubu can avert nationwide protest. The Nigeria Labour Congress president says. It says hashtag end bad governance. How Tinubu can avert nationwide protests.
People in NNPC don't want subsidy scam to end. Emma Sanusi. People in NNPC don't want subsidy scam to end. That story is credited to Emma Sanusi, and that story is on Daily News Hub newspaper.
And now moving straight onto Nigerian News Direct. On the front page, we see that no protest needed. We are tackling hardship and economic downtown. Tinubu appeals. This story is on page 4. We see the article that says food inflation, we share your pain. We have halved our salaries. The representative speakers say. We see dialogue with protesters, avoid confrontation. NLC president urges federal government, and we see that can labor and student unions and others disown planned protest and they back federal government. So we see that no protest needed. We're tackling hardship and economic downtown. Tinubu appeals to the planned protesters.
We will utilize 6.2 trillion naira extra budgetary proposal to boost infrastructure. We will utilize 6.2 trillion naira extra budgetary proposal to boost infrastructure. That story is credited to the federal government, and that story is on page 6 of Nigerian News Direct.
And on page 4 of Nigerian News Direct, we see that Bauchi records sharp drop in school attendance as free meal stops. Bauchi records sharp drop in school attendance as free meal stops. ASUP suspends strike as NBTE succumbs to demands. ASUP suspends strike as NBTE succumbs to demands. That's the reason page 22 of Nigerian News Direct. And lastly on Nigerian News Direct, we see that after 13 years, Bayelsa gets approval for National Park. After 13 years, Bayelsa gets approval for National Park. That's the reason on page 4 of the Nigerian News Direct.
And now I have this Nigerian newspaper. Senate begins probe of alleged economic sabotage in petroleum sector. Senate begins probe of alleged economic sabotage in petroleum sector, and there is one rider underneath it. Minister Lokpobiri wades into Dangote Petroleum Regulatory Authority crisis. That story is on pages 4 and 5 of this Nigerian newspaper.
We see that NAS wants domestic servants included in 70,000 naira national minimum wage scheme. NAS wants domestic servants included in 70,000 naira national minimum wage scheme. We see the rider that says the president's wife commends reps on bill seeking 70 slots for women, and that's the reason page 7 of this Nigerian newspaper.
NLC to Tinubu, dialogue with Nigerians on grievances. NLC to Tinubu, dialogue with Nigerians on grievances. That story is on page 5 of This Nigeria.
And on page 6 of This Nigeria, we see that NGO mobilizes support for Wike over smart city projects. NGO mobilizes support for Wike over smart city projects. You can find this story on page 6 of The Nigerian.
Adegboruwa drags Sanwo-Olu to Supreme Court over restriction of movement during sanitation. That story is on page 20 of This Nigeria.
And moving quickly onto the Nation newspaper, we see a death sentence. Diabetes took my eye, insulin prices could take my life. President Tinubu, please pay for our treatment refunds from Shogun drinks tax. We see that this is being said by Comrade Bernard Enger, the Vice President of the Diabetes Association of Nigeria.
Edu, why banks should pay levy on forex windfall? Edu, why banks should pay levy on forex windfall? That story is on page 2 of The Nation.
And moving quickly onto Leadership newspaper, we see on the front page concerning FG, concerning the federal government palliatives, we see that 1 week after 21 states await truckloads of grains. We see the writer that says Anambra, Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Kwara, Rivers take delivery. Labour asks Tinubu to dialogue with protest leaders, and Yobe won't join protest, says Governor Buni. If you want to read much more on this story, you can find it on page 4 of the Leadership newspaper.
On page 6 of Leadership, Christian elders write Tinubu, Nance seek new constitution. Christian elders write Tinubu, Nance seek new constitution. That story is on page 6 of Leadership newspaper.
And still on the Chibok Girls news, we see that Chibok girl with pregnancy and 2 children rescued. Chibok girl with pregnancy and 2 children rescued. We can find this on page 7 of the Leadership newspaper.
We also have lottery not within exclusive legislative list. Supreme Court affirms. Lottery not within exclusive legislative list. Supreme Court affirms. That story is on page 7 of Leadership newspaper.
And moving on to Nigeria Tribune, we see that the Tantita Security Chairman congratulates new head of service. If we recall earlier in the week, we have a new head of service, and then we see that Tantita Security Chairman congratulates new head of service. It says Tinubu has continued to honor South, and this story can be found on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Bill to establish local government electoral commission. Don't undermine federalism. Political parties, others won. Bill to establish local government electoral commission. Don't undermine federalism. Political parties, others won. That story is on page 15 of Nigerian Tribune.
And on Nigerian Tribune, we see that court dismisses Abacha's family 500 million naira suit against IG over Abuja property. We see that court dismisses Abacha's family 500 million suit against IG over Abuja property. And this story can be found on page 17 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Land use charge crisis between Oyo government, TCN affecting our members. Land use charge crisis between Oyo government, TCN affecting our members. That story is credited to the MAN. That's on page 4 of Nigerian Tribune.
And on page 8 of Nigerian Tribune, one of the last stories I'll be picking from this newspaper, we see that federal government moves to resolve crude supply dispute with Dangote Refinery. We see the writer that Lokobiri meets with Dangote, NMPCL, NM, DPRA, and UPRC buses. Representatives set for nationwide forensic audit of imported adulterated petroleum products and flag earth probe of non-supply of crude oil to Dangote Refinery, amidst others. So if you want to read much more on this news, you can find it on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune.
And now I have the Vanguard newspaper with me. Electricity, why systems collapse won't end soon. Electricity, why systems collapse won't end soon. That story is credited to investigation, and there were several writers underneath it. 10 factors fueling Nigeria's frequency system collapse. Frequency variation, lack of SCADA, others responsible. Power Up Nigeria. Hold TCN responsible for system collapse. Expert. Businesses pay for services they do not enjoy. LCCI. No economy can make progress without stable power. CPPE. That story, if you want to get the full gist of all of the story, pick a copy of Vanguard and go to page 5.
And on page 25 of the Vanguard newspaper, we see that security forces issue stand warning to sit at home to protesters. So they issue stand warning to protesters to sit at home. If you want to read much more why they do this and how and why, you can find it on page 25 of the Vanguard newspaper.
With that, I think we've exhausted our papers for today, and the papers were reviewed are Vanguard, Nigerian Tribune, Leadership, Nigerian News Direct, The Punch. We have our First News, yes, Daily News Hub, Nigerian News Direct, This Nigeria, yes, and The Nation. And I hope we are able to, get to know what's happening in the world, in Nigeria, to be precise. And we want to say thank you so much for joining us on this segment. We'll be moving straight to the next segment, which is from the FBI agenda. Yes. Okay, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
And welcome back. It is still your darling show, Poly TV show on Poly TV Ilaro. And now moving on to the Center Table segment. And of course, as usual, we are not alone in the studio here today. We've got a really important personnel of the student body here with us in the studio. So with us today, we have the Director of Transportation of the Student Union in person of Akinremi Sulaimon Urilabi. Welcome, sir. It's a great delight to have you here in our midst today. So welcome very much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that, Moyoluwa. Once again, welcome, Comrade Akinremi Suleiman. Thank you so much for coming. So, You're the Director of Transport Student Union. Let's talk about your your job, your responsibility as the Director of Transport Student Union. Let's start with that.
Thank you so much for having me here.
You're welcome.
Firstly, before I go further, I really appreciate the Rector, the Directorate of Student Affairs, Dr. Joshua Amaumi, for the great opportunity to serve the students, and also the leadership of the Student Union 2023-2024 academic section led by Comrade Macaulay Boluwatife. So as the Director of Transportation Student Union, I personally ensure we look into the affairs of the students having issues in terms of transportation, and the challenges they might be facing, in order to just, we are going to make sure we touch some little aspect of it, just to make everything more comfortable for the student at large.
All right. And speaking of your position, I've always wanted to know, is your job an appointed job or elected? So did you run for the office and you got elected, or is it appointed? Like, we have special advisors and they appoint them to that position. So is that how your office is like?
Yeah, this is appointed.
Oh, it's an appointed job. Yeah. Oh, wow, that's wonderful.
That's great. So let's talk about, you are the Director of Transport Student Union. When did you assume this office?
That is June. Yeah.
June. Okay, June. So
really early. That's like last month.
Yeah.
Last month. Oh, okay.
So I was about to ask that. Are there anything you've done for the students? So in this case, now I'm going to ask: are there any plans that you have for the student?
Yeah, we have plans. For example, we have the Student Union Shuttle, which is the Korope.
Yeah,
so
mini shuttle buses.
Yes, we have 5 of these shuttle, just to ease the movement of the students, especially during students having lectures around 8 a.m. every day. And before I proceed much, I will really thank our senator, which is Senator Solomon Olamide, for providing this shuttle for us at large, to ease the stress the students are facing at large. Then this shuttle in fact, it has really improved the transportation means of students here on campus. Example, the students at Beautiful Gate. So it is very easy for students at Beautiful Gate going to lectures around 8 a.m. to meet up with their time. So we have like 3 shuttles over Beautiful Gate. Then also to the first gate here, we have 2 working perfectly. So, and with this, it is a good development.
Oh, wonderful.
It is a good, and I must commend the school effort for also supporting the student union on this journey.
Okay, so thank you so much. I have to ask this question. Aside from the mini shuttle buses, because people have been talking about transportation, mini shuttle buses. Are there any other plans that you have aside from this mini shuttle buses?
Because we see that the mini shuttle bus has actually been implemented.
Yes.
We can actually see on campus.
Yes.
So I think what you're trying to ask is, are there any further plans that we've not seen yet, but like during the works? Plans that your administration hopes to hopefully implement in a way to ease students' lives and make it much more better.
We have more plans on board.
Okay.
We have more plans on board. We have. For example, we are working in us to also get more shuttles.
Okay.
So that students from outside, it is very easy for students to just pick up the shuttle directly from their various
outside areas.
So to the school.
Okay, so what you're saying now is like, as of now, we have shuttle buses on campus.
Exactly.
But you guys are also talking, you are planning to have shuttle buses off the campus,
exactly.
So they could directly transport students that live off campus into the school. I mean, that's wonderful. That's really commendable.
That's
wonderful.
That's very
okay, so still on the topic of students' transportation, I mean, we know that the capacity of students in the school has increased. I think we're now in about 20,000, or if not more.
23,000 plus.
23,000 plus. I mean, that we're getting closer to 25,000. So it's it's much, and with the few shuttle buses that we see on campus, it's not enough for all of us. I mean,
yeah,
you would
obviously.
That, so are there plans for a much bigger bus? Are there plans for a much bigger? I mean, we know we have the Korokwes on campus, but are there plans for a much bigger bus, or are there plans for double the amount of Korokwe that we actually have currently on campus? To further help students, transport everybody much more better.
Sure. We have a better plans on board in order to double the Korokwe.
Okay.
Since the population of the students is over 23,000.
Yeah.
So we have more plans coming on board, like 2 or 3 Korokwe to add to the one working, so that it will also ease the movement of students.
Oh, that's wonderful. And lastly, still speaking on the issue of the buses, I assume that it is not free. Students do have to pay. Students do have to pay some amount of money. So, what is the stipulated fee that that a student has to have in order to enter the Korokwe? And also, are there differences between the bike fee and the shuttle bus fee? I've not gone in the shuttle bus before, so I would so I want you to further enlighten us. And what is actually the school designated amount of money that students are to pay for these services? Sometimes people can be a bit unscrupulous.
Yeah,
the school
right.
may say this is the amount that you are to pay,
and
they might collect another
the bike
amount of money, especially the bikes.
Yes.
So we just want to ask, are there difference between the prices for bike and for shuttle, and what is the stipulated amount of money that a student should pay for these services?
Thank you so much. So on this, of recent, we released a memo yesterday.
Okay.
That for a single passenger, that's 100 naira. Then
the shuttle bus that you're talking about?
Yeah, shuttle bus.
Okay.
Why the bike also? A single passenger is 100 naira. But the bike man, they won't really want to go if you are the only one going. But if you are well okay to your standard and you think you can pay 200 naira
for 2 people.
For 2 people. So definitely they will pick you up. But just for a single person is 100 naira. So they have to take another person along with it.
If I remember correctly, sorry to cut you there, Dami, but that means that there is actually a reduction. I believe that it was 115 naira before, wasn't it? We were paying 115 naira before, now we're paying 100 naira. But do the bike men, are they privy to this information? Do they actually know that 100 naira is the amount that we are supposed to pay? Like that's the amount that students have to pay for bike and to pay for, because I feel like, I still took bike this morning. I still took bike this morning. I paid 200. So are they aware that this is the amount that you're supposed to pay? And if in case of people that are aware and they are still deciding to extort students, are they any means or any sort of thing set up that student can actually complain to and be like, look, I'm being extorted, or like you told me that I can pay 100 naira for bike, but these people won't carry me unless I have 200 naira. So are they like certain setups put in place where students can actually come and make their complaints, basically?
To that, yeah, we have some certain things on board, and I can really say the bikesmen are working on the fixed amount we speak as at yesterday. Yeah.
Okay.
So because once again, a big thank you to our amiable dean, Dr. Joshua Omomi, for this privilege. Yesterday, after when we released the memo, we started having some certain issues from the students. The bikesmen are not doing this and that, and from there the SAO immediately go to the bike stand in order to ensure that the 100 naira stands, in order to ensure, and for any student that has an issue, we have the student union PRO there to publicize my telephone number. If they are not, if they are unable to go to the Directorate of Student Affairs to make any report, they can easily call me.
Oh, okay.
They can easily, and for more benefits and for the advantage of students, whenever they have issues like that, they should ensure that they pick up. There is a certain number at the back of those bikesmen.
Oh, okay.
So they should pick up those numbers. So that's how we can easily know, this person are exhausting and whatever. And they should ensure that they should not carry any bike that is not putting on that jacket.
The jacket.
Yes.
Exactly. So these are things we were already putting in place. And on the other hand, we're working with the directorate again, because we have some certain issues the student have been complaining about in the aspect of the bike, within the pavilion area. For example, you might be driving up and a bike will just turn in front of you, which is not totally right. So we are working on that, and I know the day we also fix up something better for that opportunity.
Okay, thank you so much. So I want to ask, you said one passenger is 100 naira.
Yes.
Does that mean that the bike won't move if it's just one person? The bike has to wait for the second person to come to pay the 100 naira, that making it 200 naira. Is that the way it is?
Exactly.
It's always been like that before as well. We have students saying that, okay, I want this person to join me, this person is going to join me, that they're going to be two, so they're going to pay 100 naira. So it's still the same thing.
Yeah.
So you said that you just implemented that yesterday, just had a conversation with the bikeman yesterday. It's been like that.
I mean, I do believe that a single passenger, before it was 150 naira.
If single passenger the bikeman wouldn't go, we have to wait.
Yeah, but I mean, just to furthermore clarify what you're trying to say, I don't think that that's the problem of the union per se. I think it's the problem of the bike, the bike men per se. I mean, as you've said that the SEO has gone to speak with them, I believe yesterday, that he was present after the memo was being. I mean,
exactly.
hopefully that they would actually stick and adhere to the rules.
I get what you're trying to say, but what I'm trying to say is that one passenger is 100 naira.
Yeah.
So let's assume I get to the bike park. I say I want to enter a bike. They want
and
me
then you're
to
like,
wait.
they don't want to carry only you because
yes, they won't do that.
100 naira.
Yes, they wouldn't do that, right? Are they going to do that?
Or does it depend on the rider?
Yeah,
no.
That's the question.
The 100 naira is general for every single person that is going.
Okay.
But due to the cost of fares and every other stuff, they will also need, just to meet up their certain targets.
Yes.
But that is why we now said, you as a student, if you are capable to pay
and to take the bike alone,
then you are free.
Amount. Okay.
And if you are not capable of that, you can also wait for someone to just join us together with you. And if you have your 100 and you think you're not okay with the bike, you have the shuttle there. You can just pick that at the rate of 100 naira. Then you are good to go.
And while the big shuttle bus is just 15 naira.
Exactly.
So it's more convenient.
I mean, it's more cost efficient.
Yes,
I mean, that's a wonderful implementation by your administration.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We're really grateful about that.
Yeah. Also, I want to talk about something.
Okay.
Outside the school gates, when students are coming in, you see bikes, the way they just. I noticed that. There's not anything put in place about that, because you see some bikes coming in from the right, another one from the left, and it's not safe for the student. Are there any operative that are going to be assigned to that place, to direct
ensure decorum?
Yes,
yeah.
Because that really you need to look into that. Are there any plans towards that?
We have plans towards us, because as we all know, we have the safety cadets.
Okay.
So we are working in house with the safety cadets to also make sure we minimize some certain things, and also with the Directorate of Student Affairs, just to treat the aspect of the bikesman being, rowdied.
That's great news. I believe that's actually relief. It's a very relief news. I mean, I for one have encountered such that sometimes they drive anyhow, especially when they're in a hurry. But knowing that certain measures are being taken into consideration and are being put in place. I mean, that's wonderful. I believe that every student listening to this can actually be much more rest assured that their safety is actually paramount in your heart and in your concern. So that's really wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the hostel. We know that in the morning, 8 a.m., 7:30, it's the rush hour. I mean, very rush, and we have students queuing at the school gate. We have some of them trying to walk down a little bit, which is where you said some bike will just turn in the middle of the road to just take students, you understand? So now, I don't want to talk about those coming from outside, those from the hostel. It is said that the bikemen shouldn't wait. They should go straight to the school gate.
And I mean, I for one, as someone that lives in a hostel, I think it's a little bit unfair.
Yes.
Because I'm a student, and I believe all students are entitled to freedom of movement and transportation. Am I right?
Oh, sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, with the law that you know, you can't pick anyone from the hostel, and you need to like go to
the school gates.
The school gates. Or I myself now, I stay in one of the first hostels. I don't want to. So I say one of the first hostels on the campus, and it's like I have to go back to the school gates if I don't want to take bike. I mean, sometimes we see some bike that would pick up, but it's not really common because according to the law, and you're like, oh, I don't want to lose my jacket, I don't want to pay fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So according to the laws, it's like I can't pick you from here. Or sometimes even if they have to pick you, you can't stand at the junction. They have to like drive like inside, there's an alleyway right around them. They have to like drive inside, and then you go down and meet them, and they pick you. So I believe that what we're just trying to say is, are there any measures put in place for hostelites? I mean, hostelites do make up about like 30% of the student.
Not up to 30 actually. I think 20.
I mean, we do make up quite a huge amount of the student
population.
Hostel,
like the post-student population in the hostel is about 800 and something. And we have 23,000.
I believe that we are more. We have 4 hostels. I believe that
it's 800. It's 800 and something.
I believe that we are more. But anyways, statistics aside, so are there anything that is being put in place to ensure that we hostelites, I believe I speak for my remaining 800 something like you call us, that we actually do want and need access to time. Because if I'm late for class, to go back.
Yeah,
I mean,
is there any measures towards that?
Yes.
Firstly, as I said, this administration is here to hear the opinions of students and also suggestions.
Okay.
Firstly, we have to consider the safety of the students.
Exactly.
Yeah. This same thing happened yesterday where a student wanted to pick a bike within the hostel area, and unfortunately, those driving did not know the bike man
was going to
turn. Before we could know it, there was just a little bit of crash. So the student safety is very, very paramount. If we are to put some certain things in place and we do not consider the student safety
of the students,
definitely when the thing turns back, it will also affect everybody. But with this, we'll speak with the dean.
Okay. Thank you.
He has been playing a fatherly support role for the student, and the rector also.
Oh yes, definitely.
So on the how we can both speak, find a means of our transportation. Either probably we will speak with the bikesman that will be fixed in place within the hostels area, just to easily convey the students to their various destinations.
Even if it is 1 mini shuttle buses.
Yes, it is just 1 mini shuttle bus, assigned to the different hostels. Maybe one for Aluta, one for Queen's Palace, one for Boys Hostel. That way we know that we're not dragging bike with anybody. The bikes don't have to wait. We can ease accidents on the road and things like that. But we are also assured of transportability to class. It's wonderful that, I mean thank you for listening to us. But you also mentioned something that your administration has not had the time to actually get from students, as it is a new administration. I mean, you're probably just like a month in office. So I just want to ask a quick question. What is your administration doing in a bid to get from students? Like, what are some of the things you put in place? Are you going to hold like an event, a gathering to educate students on transport rules and all of that, and then you get from them? Or is it going to be online, like you drop your questions or your opinions online? Like, what are those things you've actually planned to put in place to gather students together and actually to address us,
to hear what they have to say?
Exactly. The opinion, the questions, everything,
and suggestions
too. Yes.
To that, the administration is really working in order to bring some safety personnel that into like the FRSC.
That's lovely.
Just because the issue of transportation here and there, it is the right time we need to put something in place. Probably by the time they educate the students at large, they will know the advantage and disadvantage and some certain areas. And to add more to this, the administration is also working on board to also implement some safety signs within the school premises.
It's needed.
Which we really go a long way.
Oh yes,
and also contribute to the safety of the student.
Okay, so I'm so sorry. Talking about the safety of the student, we have their safety. We have people that ride what's it called? Ladies bike.
I was about to ask.
Yeah,
I was about to ask if there is a designated places for them to, students actually have vehicles. They have ladies bike, like you mentioned.
Yes.
Some people have normal bikes. Some people have cars even. I just wanted to ask, are there like
but cars
designated
are not
areas?
allowed in school, so that's why most of them have ladies bike.
Oh, cars are not allowed.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so are there designated areas that students can actually park? The only one I know so far of is the one around Complex, where students do park like right on the tree. But if there are cases of students that have classes in let's say B block, for example, let's say CC Lab, for example,
probably.
So are they like spaces where it's like, this is where you park your means of transportation, bicycle, ladies bike, whatever it is, this is where you park it, like to just ease the whole brouhaha,
yes.
like chaos,
and for it to be more
conducive, and like more, even condensed stuff, like everything is just put in a place the way it's supposed to be.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
We are working with the dean, because for us to fix such a certain place, definitely we have to provide a security to overwatch those bikes and whatever. But we just, let me say, a little time we're working in us with the dean to ensure the safety of those ladies bike and wherever.
Okay, thank you so much. So I want to focus on the area of most of them, like it's too much, like they roll like no brakes, as if there's no brakes, especially this road along the UBA road. Yes, there are no bumps. Mostly at nights, we have some of them, the part-times, we have some of them that have lectures from 6 to 8, and when they're done with lectures, like, it's just too much.
It feels like they're on
they're racing.
Yes. They're on the road, and
we need,
just, I was, I think last week, Thursday, I believe, because I went to church and I was coming back, and the speed at which, I'm like, there is a speed bump here for the very reason for you not to speed, or for you not to, move. We were supposed to have like maybe some millimeter per hour, the way there's always speed.
Sure.
You understand what I'm saying? So I feel like we should have those put in place, and probably also assign somebody, because if you're, it's late at night for one, the school journey goes off by 8 p.m. that you mentioned.
Yes.
And if you're driving like that and there's no lights to see, God forbid that any bad thing should happen. Also there are some students that which are ladies bike, they do not have the lights.
Yes,
they don't have. So sometimes they'll be like, leave, or you have to be the one listening, like, okay, I think something is coming, and that's when you take yourself off the road. Maybe they I'm just suggesting there should be various checks put in place, so you can check, okay, does this bike that is coming to school compound, does it have headlights for it to be able to walk at night? Do you understand? So like, what are like certain things that you guys want to do concerning that? It's very risky having people like that racing on the road, like she said, and also racing with no lights, racing with just no care for the speed, basically, and for people on the campus here.
On that, firstly, let me pick it from the signs. We're going to ensure we fix traffic signs at those certain spaces where we have bumps and all that. Then two, we're working with the dean to also communicate with those that have ladies bike, to make sure to register with the Directorate of Student Affairs, because this is a way we can know those that have ladies bike and those that have
and those to lecture.
Exactly. And also we're working on the task force committee that will look into this, the speed limit and every other stuff.
Yes.
So with this, I know it will surely be a great achievement for everybody.
Okay, thank you so much. So now I want to move away from the area of transportation.
Okay.
How is the responsibility so far? How has it been on you? How have you been putting all of this together and making sure that the safety of the students is your number one priority?
Obviously you're a student.
Sure.
So how has it been juggling both? Your first primary assignment in school is to study, am I right?
Sure.
So there is that, and so how have you been able to juggle everything together, basically?
On that, it has not been easy, and it has been easy with the grace of God. and also with the help of the other student union executives.
Okay.
So, and also with the help of the directorate of the student affairs and the rector, that we've been able to put some certain things in place. So I must commend everybody for that. With that, it is a good task ahead for me.
Okay. So I have one question. It's just out of curiosity, really.
Okay.
Is the transport, transportation units, are they open to having volunteers from students? Like you mentioned that you're going to have task force people like that. So like the task force basically, is it open? Some students like to volunteer for these things, maybe to learn about, like, I mean, the way we have FRSC volunteers, so like, are you guys willing to have students volunteer to be a part of that community?
That will be communicated to the student at large.
Okay.
So that will come good.
Thank you so much for coming. Are there any message you want to pass to the student? Are there anything you want to say?
I don't really have much to say.
Okay.
But I will just ensure to every other student on campus and to Fed Pollard at large. So they should ensure they follow the school rules and regulations, because if anything happens, the school will be held responsible, and we don't want that. And two, the issue of ID card, they should ensure they put on their student identity card anywhere they are going on campus. It is very important. It is not for their pocket. It is their identity card, which is very paramount to them. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for coming to talk to us here at Poly TV. Thank you for enlightening us, and the various student body. I mean, I'm sure that I learned a lot, and Dami, you also did learn as well.
And you shed light to some of the things that we are curious about. Some of the things that the viewer at home are also curious about. Thank you so much, Comrade Akireme Suleiman Owolabi. He is the director of Transport Student Union, and we talk about the safety of the student. And now we're moving straight to the next segment of Poly TV show. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Engineering, Department of Electrical Engineering, and the Department of Civil Engineering. Without manpower in these areas, there is no nation. Okay. And there's no development.
Thank you so much. Before I hand over to Moyi, I would like to ask, how many departments do we have under the School of Engineering, sir?
As of 2022 accreditation,
okay,
we have 11 departments in the School of Engineering.
Okay.
The inception of the School of Engineering, it was started with only 3 departments. Okay. That was in 1979. Come 2002, Department of come 2015,
okay,
Department of Agric and Bioenvironmental Engineering was established. Why in 2002, Computer Engineering joined the league of the former 3 departments in 2002. Then 2015, we have Agric and Bioenvironmental Engineering.
Okay.
Like that now, come 2002, 3 other departments.
Joined.
Department of Welding and Fabrication, Department of Metallurgy, Department of Renewable Energy joined the league. In all, as of today, we have 11 departments in the School of Engineering.
Thank you so much, sir.
I mean, that's wonderful to be the dean over 11 departments. Yes, and I also wanted to ask, when did you assume the position of the dean School of Engineering, and how has it been so far?
I came over the leadership of the school in 2002. That I came over 2003, January 2003. I came into office.
As the dean?
Yes, as the dean of the School of Engineering.
Until now?
January 2003 till now.
Okay. Wow, that's incredible. That's wonderful. And how has it been so far? I mean, that's like over a decade, if I'm
No. 2023.
Okay.
It is 2023
okay.
till date. So I'm just 1 year, 7 months
1 year,
in
7
office.
months.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, how has it been so far? How has the position been?
Engineering is a very, very complex aspect of humanity, and that effort to see to the transformation of the whole nation lie in the School of Engineering. And that makes it so cumbersome, most especially in developing nations like Nigeria. The resources to utilize in order to get all the needed ingredients in order to stand firm as a technological advanced nation. They are not there. But to God be the glory, the rector of the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro, under the leadership of, in person of Dr. Mokahil Aremu Akinde, tried a lot to give us a lot of things that we push out to really utilize those materials in order to get to any level that we are. But we are still on course because it is not a thing that is achievable overnight.
Yes, definitely. And another question. So when you were answering, Dam's question earlier, you mentioned various exhibitions as things that propel the institution, things that actually allow the. Yeah, so I'd just like to ask that you enlighten us on what some of those exhibitions are. Certain things that the Department of Engineering is actually fabricated or done, basically.
We have been attending workshops, seminars, and exhibitions, national exhibitions. Like in order to see to the advancements of technology, the Committee of Deans of Polytechnics and Colleges of Technology in the country normally organize competition among students in order to showcase the practical student projects in all the polytechnics in Nigeria. So every year we normally do that. Both zonal competition will come up around April, May, while the national competition, those projects that are exhibitable, they will pick it from the zone, send the students to Abuja in order to showcase their talent. And glory be to God, we won the first and second position national at Abuja 2003. The 2024 competition is ongoing now, but we've done the zonal competition, that is Southwest zonal competition, and Federal Polytechnic Ilaro came second. So we are now preparing for the national exhibition competition at Abuja come May 5 this August at Abuja.
That's wonderful. And I assume that you're really proud of all of these developments that your students are making, and all of the development that the
every units and segments at the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro is proud, because out of the rating of the polytechnics in Nigeria And in comparing with other nations of the world, you will say that the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro is not lacking behind in any form. It is all these activities that were, co-opted together in order to show the performance evaluation of what this institution of learning stand out for and what it is achieving.
You're right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So now let's talk about the Polytechnic. As we know, the Polytechnic is a technological institution. It's technological. So let's talk about what the School of Engineering has done for the Polytechnic to showcase the Polytechnic in a light that we're a technology school. Are there anything that the School of Engineering has done to showcase the Polytechnic?
We have many departments in the School of Engineering.
Yeah.
And then the influence of the School of Engineering cannot just be overestimated. You recall the creation or establishment of this so-called innovation center. When you get down there, you will see this area of us making use of biometric in order to capture attendance and a lot of things. Now the innovation came up all the way from School of Engineering, and you can see that an equipment that worth millions of naira, when they were done locally, everybody see the difference in the prices of all those machines. Aside that, in order to motivate our workers, the former rector, architect Olanrewaju Olusegun Aluko, PhD, he motivated our junior stars yearly. Presentation of grinding machine, either pepper grinding, melon grinding machines. All those are, fabricated from the School of Engineering to get our staff motivated. Not only that, you will see there are times that we have potholes on our walkways.
Yeah.
Now, the students from Civil Engineering Department, they are there for us, and a lot of other things now. We have machines fabricated for these sports equipment. You understand? So when you get down there now, you will see the locally fabricated machines that by the time that you say you are going to buy them outside now, you know how much it will cost the school. So those are the areas that, and we are not stopping at that now. The solar lights now, for students to come up at any point in time. We all know the epileptic power supply in our country. So idea from electronic engineering in order to provide solar energy for our students to read at night. Many of our studios, classrooms, they were equipped with solar energy.
Yes. Okay, so you talked about the former rector, architect Olusegun Olanrewaju Aluko, motivating the staffs of the School of Engineering. How about the students? Have there been any trainings at all or anything to more equip the students and have more knowledge on these engineering of the thing? And like you said earlier, we have mechanical engineering, we have electrical engineering, we have several departments in the school. Are there anything that the school has done for the students?
We normally organize seminars for our students, and the fact that the Polytechnic equipped our laboratories and workshop with with needed materials, and our students are there to come as we are training them. They have something now to see physically that it is like this. The amount of money that the Polytechnic management is committing into talk of provision of consumable. We have many other polytechnics that to even get money to purchase consumable, it's a tug of war, but it is not the case at the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro. All these materials with appropriate technicians and technologies to really show the students how to make use of this material to get things done. They are there. So our students are cannot just be compared with any around us here. And that is why whenever we go for either exhibition or we go for competition, participants, they will always be interested to visit our home booth from the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro. A kind of machine was fabricated, taken down to Federal Polytechnic Ede in April 2024. Believe you me, even the panel of judges now, they drank out of the juice extracted from a machine locally fabricated by the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro, and they gave kudos to us.
And speaking on fabricated machines, I remember, during the COVID-19 period, there was certain sanitization booths, if I'm correct, that were placed strategically at strategic places on campus, and I believe that was done by the engineering student. What department in engineering actually did that, and also who pioneered the facilitation of that, and how was the experience overall?
For global competitiveness, the former rector in person of architect O.O. Aluko, PhD, took it upon itself then that Federal Poly Ilaro cannot just be around when people are dying. What impact do we have? So he just decided on his own, and he selected people from departments. Innovation, do something. Then now, machine that was fabricated, internationally recognized machine, and it placed our polytechnic at a higher rating at the world level. So now, it was not annexed or fixed up to a particular department, but we are here from people from business, School of Business Management, because it's not all about fabrication, management of what you are going to fabricate. People that really show you the idea, so that the cost implication aspect of it, you don't just produce, you look at the economic value. So, and that was why everybody, stakeholders in the Polytechnic, took part in the glory. And we thank God that at the end of the day, we were able to showcase something that even universities, they were all wondering. And the kind of the theoretical papers put forward to that, now by the time that you go through the theory aspect of it, you will be confident that the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro is not just a polytechnic of only holding this, holding that. Now, every ingredient needed in order to get the material worldwide showcase now, they were included into the project. And it's won a lot of glory to the Polytechnic.
That's lovely. That's lovely. That's lovely.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. When I asked you a question earlier about what the plans that you've done for the student, what you've done for the student, I was hoping you would have mentioned about a month ago the 2 weeks boot camp training for the student at the Innovation Center, the 2 weeks training. I was hoping you would mention that. Was it the School of Engineering that organized that 2 weeks innovation training?
The Innovation Center happened to be a directorate because we selected talented students from School of Applied Science, School of Engineering, and anybody that has the wherewithal to focus on a problem and providing solution to problem. It's not limited only to a particular school or to any particular department. All what we are looking for is solving locally Nigerian problems. And that is why training organized. You can see the assemblage of a tricycle there.
Yes.
During the 2023 convocation lecture, we say that the ride that brought our rector down to the parade, it was a wonderful, situation. And that has, x-ray what happens at the Federal Polytechnic Laro to the whole world. So Innovation Center is there. Ideas, tailoring toward solving a particular problem that will make human being more comfortable. That's what happens there.
Okay, I'm so sorry, Moyi. I would like to ask, what are the student projects that, can you tell us some of the student projects and where they are assigned at the school gates and where they are situated? Can you please tell us some of the student projects in the Polytechnic?
In an idea to get our students both theoretically and practically equipped with needed knowledge to make them stand out anywhere in the world now, we organize it in a way that for the first semester of their final year now, let it be theoretical. You cannot go to chapter 4 without carrying out the project itself now. But we make sure that second semester left with real fabrication, construction of student projects. But I'm assuring by now we have completed our chapter 3. So now, real fabrication, it is when they are carrying out the fabrication, now the problems encounter before you come down to the conclusion and recommendation for future improvements. So our students, they are not lacking behind in this aspect.
All right. Picking from where you said that students are not lacking behind in this aspect, and with the way that our time is fast spent. So, one of our final questions to you on the show is, what are some tips and advice that you can give to students that want to study engineering?
The advice I have for them is that engineering, it is not a kind of, assignment aiming at getting money or just looking for wealth unnecessarily. You think on how to make life comfortable, how to make life better for others. The world without engineering is no world. If you fabricated a machine today, you cannot be the only person that will be using the machine. And you will see that the mechanical advantage, instead of using labor to carry out things, now by the time that machine is doing it for you, you will see that it makes you, happier, makes you better in every aspect of life. So it's not about money. Money will naturally come when you task yourself for others. Task yourself for others. Money will naturally come.
Thank you so much, sir.
And, with that, we will be signing off of this segment. It was really wonderful to have you here today to enlighten us on the various activities of the students at the School of Engineering. Thank you very much, sir, for coming here and for, talking to us. We're really grateful. Thank you very much, sir. And, as we mentioned earlier, that we had the Dean Engineering Federal Polytechnic Ilaro in person of Engineer Dr. Adegbenro Simeon Adedoja, who came on here to speak to us about certain activities going on in the School of Engineering. And with that, we'll be signing off on this segment. We're moving on to the next segment of the Poly TV show. Stay tuned. Do not tune out. We'll be right back. Audio Jungle.
To the Poly TV show on Poly TV Ilaro. It's been a nice time on the show today, and we have people on the show we interviewed. We asked questions that it's been bothering your heart and you needed to ask questions. We did all of that for you on the show today. So Moyi The show, what can you say about the show today? I mean, with the guests, the questions we asked, the answers, and everything.
I mean, the show is always nothing short of awesome and amazing. So I mean, it was really wonderful. Especially sectors answering questions on the transportation, and also we had the dean of School of Engineering also coming to talk to us about various innovations that students themselves have done. I mean, it was really beautiful hearing. Because you're in a place does not mean that you necessarily know everything that is happening there. Yes, and so you're going from those two people you get today actually made me realize, oh, okay, there are certain things that are going on on campus, that I'm not like really privy to. So it was really nice. It was amazing. It was great.
And most especially the area of transportation and making the student realize that one person is just 100 naira. You just ask them, okay, you can go wait, let's get another person to join us. And the newspaper review segment was very interesting, and we talked about topical issues and we see what's going on in Nigeria. And it's been great. It's been wonderful. So I want to say thank you to everybody that watched us and those that are yet to. Just make sure that you share to your friends, your loved ones, subscribe, keep watching, like, drop your comment, your opinion, your thoughts about every of our programs, and we are sure to check it and to improve on whatever it is that you've dropped on the comment section. Thank you so much to everybody. So Moyi, is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap up the show today?
I just want to address the students that it's really important that you know your rights, and certain things that actually directly affects you on campus. For example, the transportation issue is something that directly affects every student on campus, and it was really beautiful that we had the comrade around to actually talk to us about it. So students, I hope you guys from today's show, obviously I hope you guys now know that translation fee is 100 naira per person. The shuttle bus is 100 naira per person, so you guys
the big shuttle bus is 15 naira per person, while the mini shuttle bus.
Yes. And if you also have complaints, you could get the contact of the director of the transportation. You also mentioned that you could get the numbers
of the bike men on your jacket.
Yes, when you're trying to log your complaint. So I mean, that's about it. Just stay safe. Stay hydrated. Study your books.
Exactly.
Remember the reason why you're getting school for it, and basically that's it.
Okay, so with that, we have to wrap up the show for today. Once again, I want to say thank you to everyone. Don't forget that Poly TV show comes up Monday to Friday. Thank you so much to everybody. My name is Damilola Adekunle. Do well to have a wonderful day.